slender ranks of brave men, tears in the eyes of their relatives, long goodbyes and vows to return home. This is the picture created for Russians by the Kremlin propagandists in an attempt to make them go to war in Ukraine.
The whole country, the whole Kamchatka region is counting on you and believes in your courage.
Grand speeches about duty to the motherland and vocation are typical Kremlin manipulations. The church also plays along with Putin's lies. The head of the Russian Orthodox Church, Patriarch Kirill, who is also a subordinate of the Federal Security Service of Russia, Vladimir Gundyaev, promises to forgive all sins for death in the war in Ukraine.
If someone, driven by a sense of duty, goes to do what his duty tells him to do, he sacrifices himself for others.
Perhaps this is one of the few cases when Putin's stooges did not lie, and they openly say that the Russians go to the war in Ukraine to get killed. But even with such a kind of frankness, there is no reason to doubt the effectiveness of the Kremlin's manipulations. After all, the Russians keep on going here and keep on getting killed. The Kremlin picture is radically different from the reality. Those who are lucky enough to survive in the war remember the horrors of it with tears in their eyes and trembling in their voices. This is a Russian contract soldier and now a prisoner of war, Igor.
I had my legs riddled with bullets. I couldn't walk. I was laying around for a day with other killed Russian soldier and then walked out of there. Walked for 4 days. I would die from blood poisoning, and then I was captured by Ukrainians. Miss Oksana pulled me out of death. She treated my wounds. I fulfilled my duty to the end. It's not my fault that I survived.
The last his words are especially shocking. Even after the experienced nightmare, he continues to repeat about his duty to his homeland, and he is ashamed that he survived. And this guy immediately decided that he did not want to kill. He says that he understands that Russian soldiers are just consumables for the Kremlin, but still he feels some guilt.
In September 2022, I decided to leave the military unit, which is located in the Belgorod region. I got to the border with Ukraine on foot and left an application in the program I want to leave and surrendered voluntarily.
There are comments that you are a traitor.
Well, I have to agree with this.
In Russian realities, such emotions are not surprising. After all, a sense of shame is the Kremlin's favorite manipulation. All those who avoid war wishing to save their lives, Putin's regime condemns and declares enemies of the state. But they should not succumb to the Kremlin's manipulations, experts say. On the contrary, they need to learn to resist this. First of all, you need to understand that you are affected in terms of 3 emotions: shame, guilt, and a sense of duty. The first 2 of these emotions are artificially cultivated in each child by parents. Thanks to this, a kid becomes manageable and controllable. When we grow up, the government does the same to us. It is important to understand why you are doing this. If you don't have any idea why you are going to fight, why you are going to kill, then it's absolutely objective and normal not to want to do this. The killing factor is not inherent in a healthy individual. You can also help your relatives or friends who have succumbed to the Kremlin's manipulations and are going to fight. A person needs to be immersed as much as possible in the situation that awaits him when he gets to the front line. You can take this friend and go with him to a military hospital and show what happens to people who are returning from Ukraine. Give them a roundup of news from various sources. Directly by force, let them read the statistics, which are horrendous. Also, you need to help a person figure out why he wanted to fight. Is it his own desire or someone instilled this idea? And the main thing to remember is that life is more important than the imperial manners of the next dictator. Reported by Dana Kulesnik, Ksenia Barvinenko, UATV News.